Go on a walk with me, will you? Firstly, how are you all doing? Just checking in. I think the energies have been fluctuating as they have been for a while now, but it feels like this new year has, I don't know about you guys, but it's gone from just like such beautiful expansion and bliss to like, whew, I feel it in my fucking heart, you know? And I just had come out of 2 days of silence, which was absolute bliss. So beautiful, so nourishing. Really recommend it. Silence, no phone, no watching, no listening. And then today I don't want to say I plummeted, but I plummeted a little bit. But it's because of, for those of you that have been following me, I moved to another country, and so it takes time to get to know people, and one of my very few friends is moving away, and what it brought up for me was just, for whatever reason, my soul in this lifetime has chosen a very long path of solitude. I've been in relationships, I was married, but in between, and even I have memories of when I was a teenager and in kind of my 20s, pockets in my 20s when I wasn't in a relationship, where just so much solitude. Like, you know how they say that a level of genius is 10,000 hours. You need 10,000 hours to practice something to be at genius level. Well, y'all, I'm a fucking genius of being on your own. And I'm not gonna lie, like, of course it's given me the qualities that, my dearest girlfriends reflect back to me, and it's given me emotional intelligence and the ability to be with fucking my humanity and, feelings and emotions and the shadow and the existential question of who am I and what am I doing here? What are we doing here? What is this all about? I could write books and books and books. I don't want to, because I think it's all an experience anyway. But I've spent a lot of time, my friends, spent a lot of time. And so right now what's kind of getting triggered is, I want to check in with you guys, because I'm hearing a lot, actually, for a lot of people, that friendships seem to be really hard right now. Friendships, and if you're single, that's a whole other thing. So I'm walking in a new neighborhood, and I just want to make sure I know where I'm going. But people are challenged with friendships right now, because what I've noticed in the last 5 years, which is so ironic, right? Because we had this lockdown and this ability to stop and go slow and to really question what has meaning and what has purpose. And, when you're isolated, you really value people and connection. And yet, ironically, coming out of that time, people are so busy. They're so busy and really absorbed in their own world. And so, a lot of people don't have time. They don't have time. It's not that they're not good people or that they don't have the want, but it's like time has sped up, and there's been this kind of like contraction into everybody's kind of little nuclear life. And I think a lot of people are overwhelmed. We've been bombarded by so much energy, never mind the like political, I'm not into politics. I think it's all a game. I stand much more for sovereignty. But, there's been so much noise, and there's a purpose for it, right? There's a purpose for, I just want to take in the view for one last moment. There's a purpose for the madness, the chaos, the duality, the division, the corruption, the war even. God forbid I say that. There's a purpose, because it's all part of this, like, sometimes humanity needs a little bit of a frying pan upside the head to like, woo, wake up, open your eyes, right? And it's not pretty. And transition is never all that comfortable, and yet I know that it's moving in the right direction. But it's hard in the passageway, right? So there's been a lot, and I really understand it. But for me on a personal level, it's like I really, if I'm honest, I had a good cry about it in the car this morning, because it was like, wow, I have these 9 days. I finally have 9 days to myself. You know, I get them maybe every 2 to 3 months. And because I'm normally a single mama. In the beginning, I had to go into self-retreat and just take care of myself and nourish myself and be in that peace and quiet, not have to talk and not have to drive and not have to cook and all of those things. And now I'm coming out and I'm recognizing, oh, I will spend this whole time by myself because I don't know that many people, or people don't have time. And again, there's no judgment, but yeah, it brings up for me this like, wow, I really long for friendship and partnership and community and a slower life where people have the time. And I'm, you know, I'm so blessed to have a handful of girlfriends that are really my soul sisters. Unfortunately, we don't live near each other. And that's kind of been my existence for the last 12 years, basically. Well, most especially the last 10 years, where I have been in so much isolation, you know, moving to first a country where I was in the countryside, and, you know, I had an ex-husband that was constantly traveling, and I was raising a baby by myself, and, you know, that wasn't easy. And now being in a new country and needing to make friends and kind of starting my life all over again. And I'm not here to go into like a pity party for myself, but to, I don't know, it feels fucking vulnerable, but to share that it's like, I know we all have our own story, and I know we're all going through something right now, individually and collectively. And sometimes the waves are just like this beautiful high and you're riding the wave in, and sometimes like the waters are choppy and you're gasping for air. But I know there are people out there that are feeling loneliness. Even if they're in a relationship, they're feeling loneliness. Even if they have friends, they're feeling loneliness. Because I think the invitation is to bring us out of the mind and to bring us out of the logical and the rational and the doing and the achieving and the succeeding and the, you know, building accolades and all of this stuff. And it's like, I'm walking around, I live in fucking paradise, and there's construction everywhere. So there's no peace. There's no peace. I don't know if you can hear it in the background. Everything is so busy, right? But this feeling of loneliness, or for some of us, there actually is the physical reality of we are alone with ourselves all the fucking time. I think it's an invitation to come into our heart. I think it's an invitation to get out of the fucking mind and get out of deifying the mind and get out of needing to know and control. And it's forcing us to be in this surrendered state and like going, trust your heart, listen to your heart. And the thing is, I know the moment I expand, I know that like, I know this is all an illusion. And I also know that I'm not disconnected from anything, you know, and one of the 10,000 hours of being on my own is that I can also really feel that state of bliss and union with the divine, with consciousness itself, with all that is. And you come to that 0 point, into the void and into nothingness, and you know, everything that we as humans are scared of and that we're running away from and distracting and neglecting. I've been on this path of like, you ain't gonna have any distractions, Corinne. Like, nope, honey, you're gonna fucking face the void. And I've been to the darkest aspects. I've been to the, you know, I remember as a child, I must have been like 2-3 years old, I used to have these memories going to sleep where the whole room would kind of expand. And it would get into this kind of fuzzy feeling in the darkness. And even when I was older, I would question it more of like, well, what is this? And like, I was really going into the void. And I would always ask, well, what's beyond that? What's beyond the darkness? I was essentially asking what's beyond the void, which is kind of fucking profound, right? And you're just an infinitum. So, but to rein it back in a little bit, these times are not always easy. Are they enlightening? Yeah. Are they expanding? Are they evolutionary? Yeah. Are there growing pains? Fuck yeah. Is it sometimes, you know, a friend of mine was saying that like, A lot of people are just stuck in ruts. I might look at the outside and go, well, but at least they have partners, or they have friends, or they have things to go to, or they have work to do, or blah, 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 blah. But a lot of those people feel like, oh God, I just want to be liberated. I want to be free. And so what is actually going on? There's this greater need for true liberation. What is liberation? It's liberation from the prison of the mind. And we've been, especially in these last 5 years, if you want to talk about it dimensionally, I'm going to lose some of you. We're in the realm of the mind. And what they're vying for is our focus and attention. And one of the things I got to tell you that was so blissful about those 2 days, and even since then, is not looking at the bombardment of images and opinions and all of this noise that unfortunately we get on social media. I love connecting there with my friends that are all over the world. I love my community that, albeit small, that have grown there, and I so appreciate your presence. And I'm deeply touched when you resonate. And I feel like my small purpose and contribution in this life, even though I was told, oh, Corinne, you're going to affect the masses, is just to be honest and to be brave enough to be vulnerable and to say that sometimes this human experience is hard. And also it's beautiful. And, I really highly invite any of you listening, if you feel compelled to go into labels, if you feel compelled to go into black and white, you're not a fine human if you're happy and positive all the time. And you're not a depressed human if you go into sadness and struggle and suffering. All of it is called being human. All of it is okay. None of it requires a fucking label. Labels just imprison, and they make things tiny and small and constraining. And what we're learning is to love it all. I'm in this experience of I felt pain in my heart today of fuck. Today I actually feel the loneliness. It fucking hurts. And even as one of my beautiful soul sisters said, is I know it's hard, but man, you move through life with such grace, Corinne. And so it's even though I can do it gracefully, fuck, it hurts sometimes. And then I breathe, and then I get through it, and then it's okay, and I come back to myself, and I'm grateful that I've made a home in myself, even though I still don't have an outer home. I'm grateful for the way that I can show up with myself, for myself, and listen and be there and not abandon and not neglect and not ignore and not run away from and not avoid. That feels really invaluable. And even though I've got the genius card on that one, sounds so vain, but it's not, you know me. Well, I say you know me. Actually, that's another thing about sharing on social media, is really only the people that are in your life all the time really know you. There's some people that might know a little bit about you, and then there's a lot of people that are going to project onto you, and you have an idea of who I am. But until we meet face to face and have a deep heart-to-heart conversation, it's hard to know someone really. But I'm trying my best to reveal a part of me at the very least. And today that part is tender. That maybe the tenderness opens your heart in such a beautiful way. Because pain also makes you feel love. Sorrow makes you feel gratitude. And there's always beauty in everything if we just stop and actually feel it. So maybe that's the invitation right now, you know? Feel it. Fucking feel it. Even if it's uncomfortable, feel it, stay with it, be with it. And again, I just want to thank my dear soul sisters that are there for me, even if it's from afar. I love you. Thank you for always being there and for seeing me and reflecting so many beautiful things back to me and being such beautiful women and angels yourselves. And thank you to those that have listened up until this point and who are also brave enough to walk this path and be on this journey where we're looking inwards, not just outwards. And we're dropping into heart more and more. And I'm going around a corner and there's a big truck. Sorry. Welcome to the noise. Anyway, on that note, as always, take it or leave it as feels right for you. I ask you, please, I don't need any comments of pity. I had my own pity party for myself earlier, but it's actually a place I very, very rarely frequent because there's no point in it. What we all need is empathy. What we all need is I see you, I hear you, I understand you maybe even, and I love you. So with that, loving you all from afar. Bye.